Alright, so a few days ago, Ludion finally released the final blog post before the Odyssey DLC drops, and at the time of recording this, I think the Odyssey DLC literally just went live. For you guys, it'll be yesterday. For me, obviously, it's today. So if you're somebody that got the new DLC, I hope you're enjoying it just as much as I am. But I wanted to touch on this final blog post, even though it's already released, because I think it has a lot of useful information for all of us about the mechhive quest, as well as a few other things, and for me and my audience in particular, because in my current Odyssey DLC series that I'm doing, the main goal is defeating the mechhive, so here we go. So it looks like in the final update they're going to be going over some quests, the mechhive endgame, which in particular is going to be exactly what we're looking for, and then some new drone traps, unique weapons, miscellaneous stuff, and languages. So, let's go ahead and jump right in. It says the new quest, Rumors, Ruins, and Orbital Adventures. So Odyssey adds new quests that take you across the planet and into orbit. If you're someone who's been following along in my series currently, we have already seen quite a few of these quests actually, so we've actually been traveling to orbital sky gates and stuff like that, looking for treasures and fugitives, and it's all really cool. So something kind of tedious for me to focus on, but I'm going to do it anyways, is this highlighted section. So some quests start with a rumor. A visiting trader tells of ancient mercenaries recently awoken from cryosleep, hole up in a dilapidated bunker. Their warlord carries a one-of-a-kind weapon. Take them down and it's yours. I really like that kind of stuff where it's like, as a content creator, and if you've watched my stuff, you'll probably see me say things, where it's like, oh, we got contacted by a trader who was here for quests and stuff like that, or, oh, the traders that were here told us this. I'm normally just making that shit up, but, you know, in this, it kind of confirms it in the lore that is where these quests and stuff come from, huh? Alright, so moving on though with the quests. So other quests can be discovered from reading old planetary maps. They point to forgotten places like insect-infested settlements or derelict launch sites hidden in the jungle. These locations offer tech, treasure, or rare materials, if you can get past what's guarding them. And then some quests lead to space. With a grav ship or shuttle, you can reach asteroid mining sites rich with leftover plasteel or uranium. You may go to abandoned space stations still defended by ancient security systems or already claimed by hostile salvagers. These places have loot, but you'll have to fight for it. You might also be hired to hunt down an orbital fugitive hiding deep within a space wreck, but reaching them won't be easy. So with some of this, I do want to say, I've noticed that the asteroids that tend to be in orbit around the planet, they normally don't contain steel. Not exactly sure as to why that is. I mean, I realize in IRL steel is like an alloy and it's not something that's naturally occurring, right? It's like iron and then you smelt the iron and then you make an alloy, whatever. But I mean, the asteroids also have plasteel and compacted machinery and stuff like that, so you know, I would have thought that they'd have steel too. But if you're playing along, just know that most asteroids don't seem to have steel. They do have ancient stuff that you can destroy and smelt down the slag from that into steel, but that's about it, at least in my experience. Maybe I'm wrong, but that seems to be what it is. I've checked most of the asteroids when I had my little asteroid base to, you know, see if I could find some, and we ended up having to go back to the surface. But, so we have a lot of quests here. Something else I want to point out, I really love the fact that they didn't kind of put this behind a grav ship wall, like you can actually go to these places and stuff with your own shuttle, which is really cool too. I love the grav ship, of course, don't get me wrong, but maybe you're somebody that doesn't have the materials or anything to get like a grav ship, or you don't want to wait to try to build one, or you haven't gotten the quest to get the core for the engine, stuff like that. You can always build transport pods and shuttles to do this exact same thing. Next up, we have information about the mechhive, which is exactly what we're looking for, or at least for me. So, somewhere above the planet drifts the mechhive, the nexus of mechanoid production and direction that drives the machines on their endless quest to wipe out human life. You can stop it, but first you'll need to collect grav core tech from around the planet and nearby orbital ruins to pinpoint the mechhive's location. You also need a signal jammer to breach the platform's automated defenses and land safely. That seems like something you have to do for a lot of these orbital platforms and stuff, or the satellites and stuff in orbit. Maybe not the platforms themselves, but a few other things that are orbiting the planet that actually have defenses. The mechhive is a labyrinth of frozen metal in the vacuum of space. Mechanoid mechanoid guards patrol from fortified outposts, blast doors sealed for centuries protect the hive's infrastructure, heavy turrets turn intruders into meat within seconds, and within the metal walls, dormant mechs lurk while others gestate quietly inside mech vats. At the heart of it all is the Cerebrix core, a vast AI superbrain that powers the mechhive and commands all mechanoids planet-wide. It is nearly indestructible, shielded by Cerebrix stabilizers hidden throughout the facility. To reach it, you'll have to fight through a fortress of machines to destroy the stabilizers. Mechanoid defenses awaken the moment you strike, and reinforcements pour in from every direction. Among them is a new Cyclops mechanoid armed with a Gatling beam repeater. So that's a really cool new weapon, a new mech, and the description of this place for the quest is pretty crazy too. Survive the gauntlet, expose the core, and make a choice. Destroy the core and eliminate the mechanoid threat for good. The machine war will end and your story continues, or you can harvest the technology for yourself and wield a mechanoid weapon of untold power. So obviously it seems like we're going to need to be extremely prepared before we try to take down the mechhive, given all that's there. I will say this is pretty on brand and on theme with what I've seen throughout the DLC so far with the mechanoid stuff, where for example the mechanoid relays, they'll have about 3 or 4 stabilizers. You have to hack every single one, and they're guarded by mechanoids. You kill those mechs, you hack it, and then you move on to the next one, and once they're all completed, then the relay itself destabilizes. You can take what you came there for, but once that happens, there is yet another threat. Very similar to that, the smaller quests that are kind of leading up to that. Really cool new mechs, new weapons and stuff, and just an entirely new endgame for RimWorld. I also really like the fact that this DLC actually gives the mechanoids some lore like that, right? They're kind of like Fermi paradox of like the RimWorld planet, where like, you know, civilizations can't really leave the planet or anything because the mechanoids are just coming out. Not exactly, right? Because of course you can go into orbit and stuff like that, but just this like huge threat that is like constantly trying to kill all humans and stuff. So I like that they've added like an actual like core and a brain and AI to them that, you know, is processing everything for them and yada yada yada, you know what I'm saying. And again, really cool, also similar to Anomaly, where at the end of it all you have this great big super powerful weapon that you can either shut down or you can actually take hold of and use the power for yourself. I really like that concept, and I'm glad it carried over to this DLC too. Alright, but that looks to be the description for the mechhive, so now we kind of move into some other stuff with new drones and traps. So we do have ancient ruins defended by drones built to kill trespassers. Some lie hidden in the darkness and trigger the moment they detect an intruder. Hunter drones, which I've been experiencing myself, rush enemies and detonate on contact. So they're basically this type of unalive itself drone that is going to explode to try to unalive you as well and your colonist, whoever it comes into contact with. Personally, the way that I found best to defeat them is to shoot them before they can make it to you. They're not super durable, but they're durable enough to withstand a few shots, so it might take a second. But it is better than the alternative of them getting too close and exploding on you. Because as soon as they start to detonate, you really have no time to get away, because your colonist is already kind of locked in that melee combat cooldown and they can't get away. Wasp drones split into swarms of stinging units, injecting paralytic venom. Paralytic, sorry, I can't talk, into their targets. So they basically are these drones. They're in one little spot together, and then they break into a little swarm of about 3 or 4, and they are melee combat. They hit you with venom if they manage to strike you enough. Obviously, it's not good. Easiest way to take them down as well is just melee combat, maybe have a few people. You'll need a few people. You don't want to just use 1 or 2 people, because you're gonna die. Sentry drones are heavy-duty bots armed with scatter guns. Doomed to follow their programming, they patrol relentlessly, waiting to ambush careless explorers. So, again, these are really cool. All of these are really cool, of course, but the sentry drones in particular are these little shotgun sentry mechs, but they're not really mechanoids, and that's the fun part. They've been created by, like, these companies or these lost civilizations to patrol these facilities forevermore, which, I mean, they're like human-made instead of the mechanoids. I really like the distinction there. They're basically just tiny little drones that roll around and shoot a shotgun at you. They will not come out of facilities abilities, in my experience, they will stay in there. So they truly do follow their programming till the end, so you can't pull any funny business on them like by getting them to come outside and stuff at all. And then finally we have unique weapons. So Odyssey introduces unique weapons, rare, one-of-a-kind variants of guns. They come with custom names, randomized traits, visual mods, and special abilities that change how they perform and feel in combat. You might find a chain shotgun named Thunderous Gut Spewer with incinerary pellets and a short-range AI targeting system that tightens its spread, or a heavy SMG that fires tox rounds, scented with a jade inlay that looks sick but isn't very accurate. Some even come with underbarrel attachments like a grenade launcher, smoke canister, or EMP cannon. Unique weapons are rare. You can acquire them through quest rewards by raiding hidden orbital stashes, opening crates found in ruins, or another secret method. So I really like this too. I mean, I really like everything that Odyssey's adding, of course, but as you can see, they're adding like a unique weapons type. I mean, it's just insane. It's similar to like Fallout. You'll have these legendary weapons that have these unique properties and stuff like that. Huge fan of this. Love to see more of this. This is awesome. This is exactly the kind of stuff that makes RimWorld great, is just this unique variety type of stuff, out of the box thinking. And last but not least, we have some of the miscellaneous stuff like statues, where you can actually make some proper statues. It's really cool to see that in the vanilla game as well now with this DLC. Outfit stands, so basically armor stands, and then we also have heavy bridges that allow you to build whole colonies on water, stronger than wooden bridges. All this really cool. We kind of saw some of this and touched on this in the previous preview, so just a few more things there. I know, again, that Odyssey's already released. I know a lot of you have probably already gotten it, so I hope that you're all having a lot of fun. I know I really, really am. I just want to cover this, like I mentioned, to talk about and to educate us all, as well as myself, on some of the stuff while we're playing along here and stuff like that, and we can kind of get a better idea of what we need to do and where we're going and what we'll be doing and so on and so forth. If you have gotten Odyssey, let me know what you're doing in Odyssey in the comments section. Let me know about your colonies, your ships, and everything that you're building. But I love you guys, and I will see you next time. Goodbye.